What's up, guys? It's Friday night. It's time to bitch. So, going through the boards, saw a post about an instance that occurs in a lot of shops every day and really hurts everything. What happens when the front counter isn't selling what you as a tech are recommending? What does that do? Why does it happen? How do you deal with it? Well, I think first and foremost, the biggest thing that happens is it hurts trust and it hurts culture. Now the front counter is making decisions arbitrarily, either intentionally or they miss it in a write-up or whatever, but something gets missed. What does that do? That creates a trust issue. It can hurt morale pretty drastically. It hurts efficiency, means that a job is now delayed. In a lot of cases, means the shop is going to be paying for whatever was missed. It's real hard to go back to a client with, hey, by the way, I screwed up when I did my job, so now your bill is going up because I missed this. No. The shop has any sense of integrity at all, they're going to make that right. That's a shop screw up. Whether it's on the tech, the counter, the parts, whatever, that's a shop screw up. The client should not be made to pay for that. But why does it happen? Well, I think a lot of service advisors, a lot of people on the counter are terrified to tell a client something that they're not expecting or don't want to hear. Fear of no, right? I think fear of being told no because it's too expensive, it's going to take too long, whatever it is. We didn't design it, we didn't build it, we didn't break it, we didn't drive it. We want to fix it. The repair is what the repair is. It doesn't matter if it's what they want to hear or not, it's the reality of it. If a part is 3 weeks out, we have no control over that. If a part costs $1,000 from the dealer and it costs $50 from AutoZone, there's a reason the one at AutoZone is way cheaper, or Rock Auto or whatever, all the ones that have gotten thrown at me. If I'm recommending a specific part, like an OE part or something like that, or a redesigned OE part, there's a reason. There's a reason that part was redesigned. There's a reason I'm recommending the original equipment manufacturer part. European stuff, I don't even bother with aftermarket anymore. It's not worth the comebacks. It's not worth the problems, the amount of times the vehicle doesn't get fixed. If somebody else decides we need to get a part from Napa or Advance or wherever and it doesn't fix the problem, now I have to go back and recheck and make sure that I didn't miss it, because yeah, I've missed things. I have absolutely misdiagnosed things. Not real often, but usually when it happens, it's not small. I will definitely own the fact that when I screw up, I go big. Sorry. And that's part of it. I think as the complexity increases, that's going to happen. We're going to miss stuff. But if we have everything documented and a decision is made arbitrarily to go a different route and there's no communication about that, that's a problem. It's going to cause a problem, or it has a higher likelihood of causing a problem. That's not a great thing to be in the middle of, especially as a tech. That's not a good feeling, right? When you know what the answer is, when you recommend the correct repair and then somebody changes the score or changes the rules of the game, now that's an ineffective repair that the tech is probably going to be held accountable for. In my own case, I'm pretty willing to go to bat and argue about something or explain something and not back down when I'm right. If I don't know I'm right, or it's the owner, I'm probably not going to push back real hard, because at the end of the day, the chain of command exists. If I'm given marching orders, I'm going to follow them. If it's not illegal or unethical, I'm probably going to do what I'm told to do at the end of the day. That is my job. My job is to follow the orders that I am given, right? I know a lot of guys don't feel that way. I do. If the boss tells me to do something that is a gamble or whatever, I'm going to state my objections. I'm going to make my argument. And if I'm overruled, I'm going to go do what I'm told to do. I've been told that's a lot of things, but you know what? It's chain of command. Chain of command is critical. I know everyone says badges off, and we definitely have those moments where ranks don't apply, but in some cases, ranks apply. If somebody hired me on the food chain tells me to do something, it's going to happen. I can't get wine out of a batch transmission fluid, but if I can make a halfway effective execution of what I'm being told to do, I'm probably going to do it. And I'm probably not going to argue about it. I may not like it, but the end of the day, I don't know the full picture. I know the backside picture. That's it. How do we resolve this, though? How do we get past when, for whatever reason, recommendations aren't being fully made in the way they were written? Well, we need to have clear expectations that if I send an estimate up to my service advisor or my parts guy, that it's going to be executed the way it's written. The front counter has to have the expectation reasonably so, that repair recommendations are going to be clear, concise, what's needed is going to be there. And if there's questions, they can approach the tech and ask them without getting their head snapped off. Vice versa. There has to be clear communications and trust that there is the ability to go have that conversation, whether it's uncomfortable or not. If there's no clear path, you should never make an assumption on what a repair is or what it needs to be, but sometimes it happens. Nobody wants to hear that I got in a rush, so I just pulled the trigger and did this and made a decision. But sometimes you're left with that where you feel like that's the only option you have. You've got to stop and have that conversation. You have to. Front or back, doesn't matter. You have to have that conversation. You have to have that understanding of why. Why is this specific part being recommended? Why is this batch of parts being recommended? Do you have to replace something that's been retrofitted and now a bunch of other stuff doesn't work and you need other parts? Was the part redesigned? Is it just a really high fail part that we don't want to play games with getting an aftermarket one? Is it an instance where an aftermarket part is far better? Pentastar oil coolers. I won't put a Chrysler one on. I put Dorman ones on all the time because they are a far superior part. Anybody who argues with that probably doesn't understand what they're playing with. But at the end of the day, as the tech, that is our responsibility to make clear what parts we need. If we need OE, if we need aftermarket, if we need a specific part, we got to put that on there. We can't expect our front counter to guess. They have a lot of shit going on. Our job is to make their job as easy as possible. At the same time, if things aren't written up well and clearly communicated, and they have no faith in what we're recommending, how can they be expected to sell it to a client? How can they be expected to sell something when they don't understand it, or they don't have faith in it, or they don't believe it? You've got to document, and you've got to document well. If it's not on paper, it's bullshit. You can say everything on the planet, but if it's not written down somewhere, then it's bullshit. It never happened. There's got to be trust. At the end of the day, trust is imperative. If there's no trust between the front and the back, then there's no point. If there's no trust in a relationship, then there's no point. This is a relationship. We ain't married usually. Well, sometimes we are, but we've got to be able to rely on each other without question. And that goes for every aspect of what we do. We play with dangerous stuff every day, and there's 100 different ways you can get killed by what we do. So we have to be able to trust that everyone else is doing their job correctly. In the facility, at least, I have a very low opinion of a lot of other shops simply because I don't agree with the way they do things, or I've seen what comes out of their shops and the work quality is not acceptable to me. High standards are something that I've always had in this, and I think it's really important that if we're going to be treated like professionals, we need to have high standards. We need to set a high bar. We owe that to the people coming in the door. We owe that to everyone else on our team. There's got to be high standards, but there's got to be high accountability also. We've got to hold ourselves to those standards without exception. Yeah, we'll keep moving forward. If you guys like this, like and subscribe. Let me know that. Throw some comments down there. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. We'll see you next round.